Hello, thanks for joining me for the February personal horoscope winner, which is Susanna. And we had a few problems getting anybody to give me all of their personal horoscope details, but we have now got two winners, one for February, one for March, and I'm now going to record them. Now, as far as Susanna's situation is concerned, she's asked me about the role of Neptune and about energy issues. So that's what I'm going to look at. Now, in keeping with the January winner, I've not prepared myself at all. I've just printed the wheels off, come out to the studio, and here we go. Okay, the first thing, and just like last time, I will be having to look away to read the wheel. First thing we noticed about Susanna is that she's a Virgo, and she's quite cuspy, just 2 degrees in, so at the very start of Virgo, but also Venus is very close to the Sun. It's at 3 degrees, so 1 degree away. So that adds to the Virgo vibration. And therefore, the Neptune issue that Susanna has asked me about is actually really right. She's very astute about this because Neptune, therefore, at the moment, has just moved into Pisces and it is directly opposite her Venus and Sun. Now, that can cause some issues to do with, if you imagine Neptune back in its home sign of Pisces, is quite watery. So there could be some issues of washing away the Sun's energy, which is fire. Now in the precise Virgo, there is a sense, when Venus is conjunct the Sun, sense of a bountifulness and a real warmth of character. And because, looking down here, Susanna also has Mercury and Jupiter in Leo, and they're quite close, about 6 degrees apart. This is a person who has got a very positive outlook, but there is that degree of discrimination that you get with Virgo people. Now, the Leo really gives someone who perhaps is able to articulate themselves well, especially in public situations. And the interesting thing is that the Mercury is actually in the 3rd house, so this is someone who'd be very good at writing. But the Jupiter, even though it's conjunct, has slipped into the 4th house, and the Sun and Venus, and also Jupiter, and also Saturn are all in the 4th house. So although Susanna is someone who can be bright and bubbly, there is this tendency at times to perhaps withdraw a little bit and seek solitude or peace and quiet, need a very tranquil sort of environment to live in. But the moon is in the 5th house, and that's in Libra, and that obviously points towards having a degree of a balance in one's life, but it's also conjunct Pluto, again in the 5th house. So when Pluto is very close to the moon, we're talking about very deep feelings and a sense of justice and exactitude, really, which comes from the Virgo, but the justice comes from the Libran influence, is going to be very strong indeed, particularly with that Pluto there, because the Pluto is very much to do with power. So Susanna is not someone who will find it easy if people don't respect her. She needs to be respected a great deal, and that's right, we should all be respected. Now, Mars is in Cancer, and Mars is in 11 degrees Cancer when Susanna was born. So at the moment, the transiting Pluto is opposite Mars. This is not an easy aspect. This points towards potentially encountering someone who may lack that respect, who might try to be too forceful or expect too much in a relationship. Could be to do with a working relationship as much as a personal one. Now, we also have this issue of energy, and I always think that Saturn is very much to do with energy issues. And looking at this chart, with Saturn being 15 degrees in Virgo, straight away I can see that there is a potential for a clash with Neptune in Sagittarius. Now, what you've got here is Saturn in Virgo is very much about exactitude. It is about emphasizing the need to have things very ordered, and then that's working against the more flamboyant energies of Sagittarius with Neptune, which is very watery, and that again could be quite a draining influence. So where does that leave Susanna at the present time? Well, I do feel that Neptune opposite the Sun and Venus are very, very important, very key at the moment. And the suggestion here is that she could encounter somebody who is an older person, someone who's in a position of authority, who maybe she doesn't necessarily find it easy to understand. This person might be someone who is quite spiritual. It could be somebody who has ideas outside of what she's experienced. But in actual fact, it can be quite a good thing, providing she doesn't let her barriers get completely washed away. So I think that's important, because Neptune can just lap away at the foundations of our situation. And of course, Saturn has been going through Libra over the last couple of years, and some while ago it would have been exact on Susanna's moon, which is not a very pleasant experience at all. But that's now at an end. Although Saturn is still in Libra, it's advancing forwards, and I do feel that things are going to get lighter. Because there is this amount of energy in Virgo, and because you have got Mars working through Virgo at the moment too, Mars is actually conjunct Saturn. So this is happening right at the present time. And as Mars has been rewinding, it's now moving back towards where her Venus position is and the Sun. And because basically Mars is going to be going opposite the transit in Neptune. So what I feel from this is there could be a sense of frustration that things aren't going quite as quickly as Susanna would like, and the feeling that energy does get sapped away at times. I think the key with this chart at the moment is to understand that the sensitivity that this person has, and the pride and the desire to be respected and admired, shouldn't necessarily be affected by outside influences only. Some of those outside influences might be confusing, might be a little bit draining, but we can also learn from them. And I feel that there is still a lot to go for Susanna at the moment. There is also her ascendant, which is in Gemini. Now it's actually in 9 degrees Gemini, so it's going to be affected very positively from June by the transit in Jupiter. The solar eclipse, which happens in Gemini on the 20th of May, is also going to be very good. It's actually at 0 degrees that, but the overlay is going to go over her ascendant. So I think generally, and also with Venus working its way through Gemini now too, this can be a time and the latter half of 2012 when a lot more positivity is going to be working its way around Susanna's situation. So that is Susanna's personal horoscope, and thank you to her for sharing her personal data with me and with giving me permission to share all of this with all of you. And thank you again for following me, and goodbye.